Go.
To Pimp a Butterfly. You produce 8 songs on that album. Would love to talk about For Free. Right, I love that song so much. Obviously, it's right at the top. It's track 2 on the album, and it's so different. It's like swinging, burning jazz, and then you have Kendrick rapping over the top of that. What was that? What was that session like? How did you get that to come together? Was Kendrick in the room when you did the whole jazz element? Did he know that? Like, did you tell him the direction? Like, what is the story of that song?
We had been in the studio, the Tom Tom room over there in Santa Monica. It's not there no more. It's another studio Interscope has, but this was the magical studio. SZA did her album, Schoolboy Q, YG, Kendrick. It's all one. This studio was crazy. But that particular song, man, we had been on that jazz tip, and I'm always on m.A.A.d Blues, and he was asking me questions about Coltrane, and we was listening to different things. I would play him Freddie Hubbard, the Red Clay album. I think the song is called Sweet Sue. I didn't play the Red Clay song, but I played Sweet Sue. I think that's a boo boo doo boo bee boo doo bee boo doo boo boo bang dang 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 dang. That's Herbie, Ron Carter, Lenny White, Joe Henderson. So we was on that. I was like, and he was like, write me something like this. And I was like, psh, boom. I went home that night. I was living in Porter Ranch then. I'm living in Porter Ranch now, but I was living in Porter Ranch then as well. I'm going to drive you past his house that I rented for like 8 months just to write music in Porter Ranch. All I had was a couch, a bed, and a grand piano. I bought a grand piano. And food. I had food. A lot of weed. You know what I'm saying? and a pool and a couple of pit bulls. But anyway.
Always the pit bulls.
Always the pit bulls. I trust dogs more than humans. For real. Except my children and my wife. I trust dogs more than humans. But I went home and I just said, okay. I knew the album he was working on was important, and he was speaking truth over this whole album. So I had to stay in the concept in my head and said, what palette of music, harmonically, can I supply for him that'll allow him to speak his truth and that will actually help him and his truth penetrate through all this fake shit outside? And when I thought about it, the only music in my head that could really get the truth across at a high level, intense, and make you feel a way is gospel. And then if you know anything about the origins of Black music, from gospel comes the blues. So I knew I couldn't give him gospel, but I knew I could give him a piece of it. But I knew I could give him that blues. But now how am I going to get Kendrick Lamar on a blues song on this hip-hop album? And I said, that's how I'm going to do. I'm just going to write it. It's going to be a minor blues. I love m.A.A.d Blues. I love how Terrence Blanchard, all those guys write hits on the end and just different things. And so I said, okay, tension. He's on tension, truth. What am I going to do? I remember the first thing I wrote, because I just saw a Joe Henderson interview where Joe Henderson said he didn't write a lot from the chord perspective. He started the melodies first. And I said, whoa, that's nice, because the chords lock you in sometimes. So I knew I wanted to do a blues. I didn't know what key to blues, but I knew it was the blues. So the first, I thought of tension. What can I think of tension? And I was like, I'm always practicing tritone substitutions, you know. And I was thinking, oh, tritone, that's just tritones. And just like the cats would do, just come with a driving lick, and whatever it is, the swinging got to start art. You can't build on the swing. It got to go off to the races. This got to build. It got to feel like it got to feel like Bob Hurst used to feel with Kenny Kirkland and Jeff Tane Watts playing at the Bellage in the early 90s in LA off Sunset. I used to go watch them play when they was doing the Tonight Show when I was in 7th and 8th grade. I wanted to do something that was 90s element, but something at the Marcellus. I wanted to do something Jeff Tane energy, because that's what we was on gangster shit. And I feel like Branford Marcellus and them records, I don't know how they felt, but ain't about how they felt. It's about how I felt when I got the record. It felt like gangster to me, positive. It felt like they were saying F the police and different things like that. I don't know if they was or wasn't, but the way Tane was playing, it made me feel like that. Because I could put in something that Tane played, and then I could go put in a Tupac record. And I could feel the same freedom. I could feel the same artistic love, beautiful flowers. Everybody else may have heard Pac and saw violence. I saw flowers. I saw love because I come from a violent place that the shit he talking about ain't nothing like what I grew up seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It's still lollipop and love. Not lollipop, but it's still like, okay, you know, he talking about living, dying in LA. He ain't talking about he ain't going out. He protecting everything. It's all protective energy. That's how Tane them played. So I wanted to give Kendrick that same element. And I know he loved Pac. And like, what would Pac like? What jazz would Pac like? Like, if I was working with Pac, what would I give Pac? And I was thinking of I Ain't Mad at You. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Boom, boom. Which is from El DeBarge, but it's elements of the blues in that. So I said, I can't do that. So then I remember me just driving after I wrote the melody. I knew I wrote the melody and the drums had to be driving, but I said, what? And then I remember me playing Branford Marsalis album, The Dark Keys trio album. It's Branford, Tane. I forgot the bass player on that record. I don't want to say. Can we look that up? The bass player on The Dark Keys. It's been so long, but it's Tane, Branford, and it's a particular song that Kenny Garrett is featured on. If you play that song Kenny Garrett's featured on, that mixed with the Mo Better Blues song, you'll hear where I got for free from. Is it Reginald Veal?
Reginald Veal.
Oh, wow. Woo! Pretty good. I didn't want to say the wrong name, you know. But it's a song called, it's with Kenny Garrett. It's featuring Kenny Garrett on that album. And that was the motivation of the For Free. And when Kendrick heard it, he wrote exactly what I felt he was going to do. He attacked it like Freddie Hubbard attacked on Sweet Sue. Like, he just attacked it. This dick ain't free. And there was all these rhythms and in between. And then at the end, the dick ain't free. And just, now, he was there. I wrote it. We came in the next day. Ronald, I wrote that song. He came in the next day. We recorded it. The band was Brandon Owens on bass. Spud was on drums on that session. And Marlon Williams on guitar, Craig Brockman on organ. Because I was like, wow, I got this song, but I'm with Marlon and Craig every day doing songs. I'm like, what can I write for them to play over this? Because they don't play this kind of music. And that's when you hear the then they out, boom, and the jazz band kicks over. Because I wanted to involve all my friends. Because I love my friends. It's a big record. Cop on this record.
So that's all them talking?
Yeah.
Who's talking?
Craig Brockman, Marlon Williams, Spud, Brandon Owens.
Just the band.
It's the band.
The band's just talking, yeah.
And then we did that. And then I liked it, but then Robert Glasper was in town one night. And I had Robert come over, do piano overdubs over 8 or 9 of the records. And that was the first one he did. And it was like, I told Robert, I want you to sound as much like Kenny Kirkland as you can, please. Yeah. And Robert, that's one of Robert's favorite piano players. So he went in, man.
And I know this too, but just to double click on that real quick, as you said, you had Robert Glasper come in and play on 8 or 9 of the records on To Pimp a Butterfly in like one session. Glasper came there, you were pulling them up, and he was going. One take. How amazing is that?
One take. No
That's
ego.
Incredible.
No, Robert had been calling me for years. Next time y'all do a record, please. I'm like, I got you.
About Kendrick.
Yeah, about the Kendrick record. Next time you do a Kendrick record, please. And we was working, but we hadn't had when Robert could play on anything, but we've switched so many styles. And sometimes we're not on no keys at all, where I was like, I had to find a place, and this was the perfect album to have Robert Glasper bless the whole album.
Absolutely.
Perfect album.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, man, it's like meant to be.
Yeah.
Especially with how quickly it came out of him. You guys together, you call him, boom.